I'm Moshe,
I'm Yasmeen.
and this is the Human Collective. Well done.
Awesome.
We literally did that run through one time, and you nailed it.
Perfect. I'm glad. I was worried I was gonna mess it up.
So I have a really special guest on the show tonight. Before we jump into that, I just want to say that I am hosting this essentially alone. My co-host Polly is on vacation on a cruise ship somewhere, probably sitting in a jacuzzi, and we're stuck here in cold Pennsylvania, but that's all right. I have a really special guest tonight, competitive fighter, Muay Thai. I'm calling you a champion.
Awesome.
And also a personal friend of mine, someone who I've been following your career as a fighter since you told me about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Yasmeen Salhani, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
As you can see, she has her belt on the table here. This is recently acquired, right?
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago I won it. Yeah, it was my 30th fight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
30 under your belt.
yes, 30. I think I've been doing this for 5 years, going on 6. So yeah, 30 fights within 5 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And how old are you now?
I turned 25 in April.
Wow, 25 years old, and you started at what age?
19.
19 you started training, or you were actually competing?
I started competing at 20.
So
Yeah.
just a year of training pretty much.
Year training, and then I had my first fight. And then that same year I went to Spain, represented USA in WKA tournament, and won 2 gold medals in Spain that year.
So for those who don't know, what is WKA?
That's just a promotion.
Promote?
Yeah, there's different kind of promotions. Like this belt, I won it for the promotion of Warriors Cup.
Okay.
Yeah,
So how does that work, the different types of promotions? Like, is that almost like in the amateur rank, like a division, or?
No, so, I mean, people, like, make shows, and then that's their promotion. Like, my trainer is planning on making his own promotion. So it's just, like, people making their own, like, shows, pretty much, and that's their promotion.
And they go and they put together, like, a fight card of different people that are...
Yeah, they have to get, like, sanctioned and licensed and go through this whole process, book a place, get fights, and all that stuff, pay for everything, of course. And, yeah. And they got it.
Do most promoters start as fighters, or is it kind of like you choose one avenue and then you kind of, that's your path?
I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just like, if you're passionate about it, if you like it, if it's something you want to do. I mean, in Muay Thai, there's not a lot of money, so I feel like doing it for the money is definitely not the route to go. So I feel like with Muay Thai, at least, if you want to start a promotion, then you got to do it because you love it.
Yeah. Why do you think it is that Muay Thai is not as lucrative as, say, MMA or...
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because I think Muay Thai can be very entertaining and fun. Like, I don't know, it's beautifully brutal, you know what I mean? So it's like...
Yeah, I've heard that before, that fighting is almost like... It is an art form, without a doubt, because of the calculations involved.
For sure.
And, it's... Tell me if I'm wrong, but when you're fighting, it's almost like you're battling your opponent, but also yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're battling yourself more than your opponent.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, because I feel like it's you getting yourself in the right mindset. You getting yourself ready. Like, you got to win the fight before you can step in the ring.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
mindset.
So 100%. The mindset is everything, If you got the wrong mindset, then it'll mess up everything. So... if you, like, for instance, you have the right mindset and you go into the fight and the first 2 rounds you're losing, if you have the right mindset, you can turn that around and beat the person. You can knock them out. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you have the wrong mindset, then you'll lose within, like I said, before you even step in the ring. So.
Have you found yourself in that position where you were in the wrong mindset? And if you did, was that early in your career? Or is that something that still happens at the stage that you're at now, 30 fights in?
Right. So... it's crazy. Definitely battle with it, 100%.
Okay.
From the beginning of my career, I was just like, I would get nervous because, I don't know, when you get excited, you're about to compete, people are watching, so you get into it and you're like, okay, it's about to go, I'm about to get hit in the face.
Yeah.
Right? And then, so after my first time winning, I got excited. So I was like, I got this. But then after I had my first loss,
Yeah.
I felt the anxiety that comes with it. And then each fight,
Did you kind of carry a little piece of that anxiety?
yeah, because like there's been fights where I lost because I got tired, and that feeling of being that tired and knowing someone's coming to attack you and you can barely move because you can't breathe, it's scary. You know what I mean? So, but you still have to stand there and be strong and still fight. You know, so that anxiety, you know, it can mess with you, and it's not even about like as I got more experienced, it actually people would say like, oh, you get used to it more or you feel better. It's like, no, for me, for the longest, it was like it got worse. I've
Really?
had times, I've had times where during my fight camps, like I've had breakdowns, I've had anxiety attacks, I've had just questioning everything because it's like I said, fighting is more of a battle with yourself in my opinion, at least for me. And you know that opponent is just like that's like the end result, the end thing. But like going and training every day, giving it your all every single day, that's the fight. That's the real fight, you know.
Yeah, we were talking briefly before the podcast about Mike Tyson, and Customato was his trainer early on when he was an Olympian in his teenage years. And I remember watching a video clip of Customato sitting with Tyson talking about that exact thing.
Yeah.
And he was saying, you got to use it. It's like a fire burning inside you. And that fire can either cook your food or burn down your house.
Yes.
You know? And it's how you use that. Am I right? You turn that into something that drives you to be victorious.
Definitely. There's this one fight that I had that haunts me to this day. And that fight, I was in a complete horrible mindset. And in the fight camp, and before the fight, during the fight, everything, and it didn't end well. But since that fight, I took a break. I gave myself the time to, you know, collect my thoughts and just like change things around because I'm just like, I never want to feel that way again because it's not a fun feeling. So since then, I've completely changed my mindset and I'm much stronger for it now, much better, and I feel like it even shows in my performance now. I'm a different fighter than I was a year ago, you know. So it's like I hit rock bottom and built my way back up.
So when you had that loss, other than changing your mindset, was there any change to your training as well, like in your technique? Was that something, or was it just like a humbling experience and was like, okay, I need to reset?
Both. So then I was training maybe 4 times a day plus running.
Okay.
Because I thought like more was better. Not the case. I actually just tired myself out, you know, and I burnt myself out. And instead of giving it my all in one training session and a good run, I split up my energy in each, and it didn't, like, I mean, a lot of fights I won, you know, but then because I tired myself out and didn't work smarter, I just worked harder. Yeah. It hurt me more than it benefited me.
When you tire yourself out like that, is it kind of like maybe you feel like you can take the opponent out early on, so you exhaust your energy early, or is it just figuring out how to balance it over however many rounds the fight is and going, okay, I need to not gas out by round 5 or however that works?
Right. So the wrong mindset to have is I need to save my energy so I don't gas out.
Okay.
Because that will have you thinking too much, and that will have you pausing and hesitating in the fight, which you don't want. But at the same time, you don't want to go in guns blazing because you will tire yourself out doing that. Yeah. So you got to find a happy medium. So
have you tried, other than Muay Thai, have you tried any other different types of like martial arts? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I did wrestling in college. I went to Temple University.
Right on.
I did that.
Shout out Temple.
Yeah. I went there. I did wrestling for only a few months, my last semester there, but I got to compete in the nationals, and I was the first girl to ever win a match for Temple, but I was also the only female to pin a girl. I think it was second period or something. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. And I trained MMA. I wanted to start fighting in MMA, but I think I'm gonna focus on Muay Thai now. But I also did boxing and jiu-jitsu, competed in jiu-jitsu. I wanted to be a well-rounded fighter. But at the same time, I also realized that splitting my training like that, I guess like it kind of hurt my Muay Thai, to be honest, because I was like almost all over the place.
What made you decide to go with Muay Thai as sort of your foundation and make that your career?
It's what I started with. You know, it's home. Like it's what I'm good at. Plus, I like hitting people in the face.
So well, you can still hit people in the face with MMA, yeah. That.
But then if it goes to the ground.
Right.
I mean, I like grappling.
Yeah, that's a whole nother world, right?
Whole nother world.
I see, like, I watch some UFC fights, and you see, like, certain fighters will try and draw their opponent to the mat because they know they do better. Yeah.
Exactly.
The ground game, they call that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, me knowing that I'm a striker, they will probably 99% of them will try to take me to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So
Muay Thai, you're all on
just
foot.
Stand up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just stand up. Yeah.
What's the primary difference that you find between a Muay Thai match and an MMA match other than changing technique?
So, with MMA, I mean, the stand-up part is Muay Thai. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The only thing is just like Muay Thai, you can stand up straighter because you're not worried about anyone taking you down. If you stand up straight in an MMA fight, you're getting taken down.
Yeah.
So you got to bend a little bit. You know what I mean? But if you bend a little bit in Muay Thai, for instance, you're going to get kneed in the face or teeth in the face.
Okay.
So it's pretty much just the stance, the movement. MMA fighters move more because if you stand still, you will get taken down as well. So, but Muay Thai, they're more like, they say sabai in Thai, which is like relax.
Okay.
Because it's more just about like thinking and not like so much. You know what I mean? It's like a chess game.
Gotcha.
So
it's not checkers, it's chess.
Chess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you get yourself? So, okay, let's take a step back here. So you're preparing for a fight. For example, the fight that you just had,
right,
which won you this title,
right?
How do you mentally prepare for that? Going into the fight, maybe talk a little bit about your training, like how you actually physically condition, and then maybe a little bit about the mental conditioning before stepping in the ring.
So this specific fight, I was actually in Thailand for a month. And what we did there is I trained twice a day and ran 6 miles almost every day.
First time in Thailand?
First time in Thailand. It was beautiful. It was amazing. Great experience. But I didn't get to see too much of it because I was training all the time.
No, you didn't get to have any, like, not a night out?
A little bit. I mean, for sure. But
yeah, and were you in Bangkok?
Bangkok.
Okay, you were in the big city.
Yeah.
Like, Bangkok is...
Yeah.
Did you find that kind of like a New York City vibe, like in Southeast Asian New York?
Definitely calmer than New York. It wasn't too crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess a little bit, yeah.
And the amount of scooters in Bangkok is crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm used to it, like, because when I go back to my hometown, Lebanon.
A lot of scooters too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Even worse. Like Thailand was nothing compared to Lebanon.
One thing I remember from my trip to Thailand was that the traffic signs, green light, red light, stop sign, that was just like a reference. For fun. Yeah, it was like, use it if you want. But 90% of the people were just completely oblivious to that. It was just like, if you've got a clear path, take it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more accidents there too.
I don't know. I rented a scooter.
Yeah.
I was with my brother and a friend, and we all rented scooters, and I was honestly intimidated at first.
Oh yeah.
Because of how dense the number of scooter people was. Like you were literally elbow to elbow with someone else.
Yeah.
And you don't get that in the States. Like, it's not how it is.
But it's also like you see a family of 5 on one scooter.
I know, that's crazy. Or delivery guys that'll have big, gigantic bags full of whatever, grain rice, like on the back of their scooter. Seriously, or chickens. I saw one guy had like a chicken coop on the back of his scooter. He had like 9 cages, and in each cage was a chicken, and he's just rocking on his little Honda. I'm like,
That's
okay,
cool.
that's a skill in itself.
Seriously.
Yeah. Anyway, so you spent all of your time in Bangkok.
Yeah.
You didn't get to any of the islands or anything like that?
No, I didn't. I just stayed
man.
there. Yeah, I know. But I mean, I'll be back. I'm planning on going like every year.
Yeah.
So.
How was the food? Did you like the food?
The food was so good. It was so good, but I couldn't even like.
You were training, so.
Yeah, like
so
I couldn't eat whatever I wanted.
Oh man, you were being like teased by all the Thai culture.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I was upset, but I mean, I got to try things, but like I didn't get to like stuff my face.
Yeah.
Like I like to, but I mean, either way though, like I was trying to watch my weight there, so I can like, because when I came back a week later, I had to fight for this fight.
Yeah.
And I was trying to like lose weight, and I ended up losing nothing, and I had to lose all the weight when I came back. So I had to lose 17 pounds in a week. You
had to lose the weight so you could make weight for the fight?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a restriction, like you have to be at this weight in order to fight. Okay, so you had to cut the weight last minute? Yeah. How does that work?
It was very bad. It was very bad.
How do you do that? You just go on like a crazy exercising spree or what? Like
so almost pretty much starving. Because 17 pounds in a week is, first of all, it's not smart. I don't recommend doing it. Don't do it.
Starving yourself?
Well, yeah. But
pretty
also,
much.
Like, cutting weight the way that I was. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I had to do it. There was no way I was not going to make weight because this fight was a big deal. Or any fight. I'm not, But the way I did it is I came back. I was 120 when I came back. 120, 121. I came back and I didn't... Like, I ate once a day. I had, like, chicken and vegetables every day.
Okay.
And then each day I would go to the hot tub, and I would sit there. So, great way to cut weight.
Yeah.
Right? Ready? Here's the tip.
I'm listening.
I sit in a hot tub, say 5 minutes for the water up to my neck, and then after 5 minutes, I move down to, like, my chest. And then 5 minutes later, water to my waist. And then I do 5 minutes in the sauna. And that counts as 1 round. So then I do that multiple times until I make weight. But the way I did it that week, like Monday I went 2 rounds, Tuesday 2 rounds, Wednesday 3 rounds. Thursday I did 9 rounds, almost passed out. And then the day after I did in the morning, because my weigh-in was that morning. Yeah. I did 3 rounds in the morning. And that's how I lost my 17 pounds. I looked like a zombie, but I made it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But
that's dedication, though. Here, I just want to show. I have a quick clip up of the fight. I don't want to show your Facebook here. You can't really see it from there. But this is this is the finishing here. Where was this fight at?
New York, Yonkers.
So what were you thinking right here at this moment when you had her?
I was looking at her face, and I was like, oh, she made a weird face. And then I again.
Oh, she went down like a sack of potatoes.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. It was, but then when I hit her and she fell, I was like, what happened? Like, I was so shocked. I was like, oh, my God, is she okay? Like, what do I do? Where do I go?
You felt bad for her?
I felt so bad.
Hey, man, she chose this career just like you did.
Yeah, but then, I mean, I was still like, no, I got to do what I got to do. So I went to the corner, and my coach was like, Yasmeen, cross hook elbow. And I was like, okay. And then they said, no.
You hit her with an elbow?
I didn't. They threw in the towel before I got to.
Here's another, here's a training clip.
Yeah, this is me boxing my trainer. So this one took a turn real quick. I was beating him, right? But then he gives it to me later.
And this is the trainer you've been with since the beginning, right?
Since the beginning, yeah. I started when I was 19, so.
And you want to shout him out or maybe drop his IG?
Yeah, Rami Elite, he is the son of Palestine. His name is Rami Ibrahim. He beats me up all the time. See, look. See, I always tell people, if I can take his hits, I can take any girl's hits.
So he doesn't hold back when you guys are sparring?
He hits me like I'm a grown-ass man. He does not care. See, no one helps me. They just stare and laugh.
Hey, man, that's what got you to where you are,
That's
like
true.
this type of training.
He's made me very, very, very tough, mentally and physically, for sure.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you said what got you into Muay Thai was that's just where you started. You've tried other different fighting types. You've done some wrestling. You've done some boxing. What was it like boxing? Are you a fan of boxing or because I'm kind of a huge fan of boxing.
So I mean, I like fighting, like doing boxing, but I don't watch many boxing fights. Like if you tell me a boxer name, I'll be like, I don't know.
Do you watch your fights after they're over?
If I lose, I give it some time to wait till I'm ready.
Okay.
But if I win, because I do watch it.
It helps hype you up a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good feeling for sure.
You could do like a little montage before your fights of all your victories, and watch that just to hype you up before you go into battle.
Before I go, I'm like, I'm a champion.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Peru thing. Why don't we bring that up? That's something we could talk about.
Totally. So, my last fight actually was I was fighting for the spot to represent USA for the weight of 105 pounds.
Okay.
So I ended up winning the fight, and so now I get to go to Peru in March to represent USA. But I also actually, what's sooner, I'm going to Colombia in December.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What part of Colombia?
I don't know. I don't want to say it wrong.
Medellin?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, the very first guest I had on the show, my good friend Felipe, he's a rapper.
Oh, wow.
He's from Medellin.
Oh, cool.
But I think they say like Medellin, something like that. Yeah, the Colombian accent in Spanish is different. You know, it's got a little more flair to it.
I like the Colombian accent.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah, I agree. Especially the Colombian men, they're very suave.
Yeah, definitely.
Felipe would like that if I said that. Not him, though.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Nah, he's cool. But so that's awesome. So what's going on in Colombia?
So that's like just a smaller tournament. It is like Team USA, but it's just like a smaller tournament of that for USMF, which is a big like Muay Thai, I guess team promotion thing.
So do you have to defend the title?
So it's not a title. The title is separate.
Okay.
I won a spot to represent, but that you get selected for.
Okay.
So like the head, I guess like the president of USMF, set that up. So like set up the fight, and they get to pick who gets to be on the team. And they told me that they look at like who's the most active, or like who's winning more often or something like that. So luckily I got selected to be on the team.
That's cool. So just like in any other sport, there's scouts basically that must be watching your fights.
Yeah, so I guess something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do people approach you? Like how often does that happen where they're like, hey, I've seen you fight, I'd like you to be part of my promotion or part of this event?
I mean, it's happened a good amount of times. But most fights are set up through my coach.
Okay.
So if they want me to fight, a lot of them just message my coach, or my coach puts my name into a show, and then I get selected for that.
So your coach kind of works as your promoter.
Almost like my manager.
Your manager. Okay.
Sense, yeah. Rami does a lot for his fighters.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he definitely takes care of us. He always takes us to the weigh-ins. Not a lot of coaches do that. He always, just make sure that we're good. So yeah, he's a great coach. So.
That's awesome that this career in fighting is taking you all over the world.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing because I got to go to Benidorm, Spain. I got to go to Thailand. I'm going to Colombia. I'm going to Peru. It's amazing. I mean, granted, I don't get to see much of them because I'm just in a hotel and fighting. But at least I get a little bit, and I get a little bit of the experience.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Mm-hmm. So how long are you in Colombia for?
Only a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then right after Peru, or was there a little bit of a gap in there?
For Colombia?
For between Colombia and Peru.
Right. So what, is there anything going on then?
Yeah. So when is Colombia? When does that come up?
That is December.
That's December next month. And then Peru is March. So you've got a little bit of time, breathing room to train and decompress.
Yeah, but I'm going to fight during that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you'll do what, those like local fights in New York?
In New York.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get a certain rematch in February. And then January fight whoever.
What's the rematch? What do you mean a certain rematch?
So that's the fight that I lost.
Okay.
The one that I'm dying to get back.
Okay.
So hopefully February, Friday Night Fights.
So how does that work? You have a fight. Unfortunately, you lose that one. You decide you want a rematch. So your coach now contacts her coach. Okay. And what would they say? Are they?
So they actually asked for me a couple times to fight her again, and it's either I couldn't for whatever reason, I had my own reason, or like for instance, they asked me for December 20th, but I come back from Colombia the 18th. It wouldn't be smart to fight her 2 days later from jet lag and plus fighting in Colombia.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to be on my A game.
Yeah, this one means something.
This one does mean something. It's personal. So. Yeah.
Who's the fighter? Can we say her name?
Yanette Garcia.
Watch out, Yanette. It's a wrap, Yanette.
So.
She's scared. She's probably been following you since that fight, and
she probably, she did a good fight. She won. I'm not gonna take anything away from her. It wasn't me fighting that fight. I was not in the right mindset, but not taking anything away from her. She was a better fighter that night.
Yeah, that's good sportsmanship. That you can sort of take it on the chin and say, hey, look, you got that one, but I'm coming back.
See, but that's the thing about fighting. Like, people always want to talk trash and be so mean and aggressive. It's like, I have nothing against this person. This is just a competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
I have something against you and, I'm going to beat you, but nothing against you personally. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, so I know you said you don't really follow the boxing world that much, but there was a huge upset a few months ago with Anthony Joshua.
Okay.
He's like the UK's heavyweight champion. He was unified. This guy had, I think, 5 or 6 belts, and he was scheduled to fight one guy, and that guy tested positive for steroids or some kind of drug, enhancing drug, 3 times. So they gave him the benefit of the doubt 2 times after he failed, and he still came up dirty. So they ended up booking last minute this American guy who's from like South Central LA, sort of a chubby Mexican dude named Andy Ruiz. Okay. Total underdog. He was a 15-1 underdog. Wow. They looked at him like he was dead in the water. He was just like a stand-in. That's really what he was. I mean, if you look at Anthony Joshua, the guy's like built like an Adonis, like this Greek god, perfectly chiseled. He's a bodybuilder as well as a boxer. And then Andy Ruiz is like maybe 6'1", Joshua's 6'6". Ruiz is maybe 6'1", really chubby, like overweight, has no muscle mass, and beat him. Wow. Beat him bad. So he caught him with a shot. He caught him with a left hook behind the ear. And he sort of rattled him. And you could see that Joshua was shaken from that shot, and he never fully recovered. But just like you said, hey, look, she got the better of me that night. He said the same thing. He gave him his props. He said, look, you won the fight fair and square. You caught me behind the ear. That threw me off, but you still took that shot and landed it. Totally. And it was not an illegal shot. It wasn't like he was, it was a clean fight. But it was a huge upset in the boxing world. Huge. Yeah, and your story, like how you're saying this anxiety that sort of carries with you lingers into fights after that fight. Even if you're doing really well, it's always there and plays a part. Yeah. That's what Anthony Joshua was saying. And so now they've scheduled a rematch. Okay. And a lot of people sort of are favoring Ruiz now because they feel like he got in Joshua's head. They feel like once he beat him, he owns him to an extent. Oh, yeah. And, there's something very barbaric about 2 fighters and one on the mat and the other standing over that fighter. And it just the image of that, and like you're in front of an arena, there's all these people around, it's just fighting is an egotistical thing, right, to an extent. I guess you got to be humble, but you also have to have a strong ego. Yes. Yeah. So I think that fight for him was a huge blow to his ego. And it was the first fight for him in the States. And it was at Madison Square Garden. It's a huge historic arena. Totally. And he lost to a guy that was a 15-1 underdog and was an amateur fighter. And granted, he had, I think, 40 or so fights. And it might have been over 100 fights, most of them by knockout. So he was no slouch. He was a good fighter, but when you look at the two of them side by side, he just was
There's no way.
no, completely different. But he shocked the world.
Yeah.
He really did. It's funny, they asked him, like, you know, did you do anything different in your training to prepare for this fight? He's like, well, right before the fight, I ate a Snickers bar. He's like, it gave me a little extra. So Snickers like endorsed him, and now they're his sponsor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stop.
I mean, he's doing something for all the chubby guys that are like, oh, now there's someone that looks like me and is like a badass fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
No, for sure.
But it threw a big wrench in the boxing world because Joshua was scheduled to fight some other really big names. But then this amateur fighter comes along and totally changes the game plan.
Right.
You know, now he's taken all those belts from him. He now has all 5 belts or whatever.
Does he?
Yeah, that's how boxing works, I guess. I don't know if it's different in Muay Thai.
That's not how that works in Muay Thai.
Yeah, so that's just per belt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he got all of his belts.
Wow.
So now imagine he's standing there. This guy's been champion for a while. He beat one of the all-time greats, Vladimir Klitschko, like from Russia. Whatever. Crazy boxing history. But, like, that's just got to really be a huge blow to your ego, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you lose to someone you're not supposed to lose, you're not supposed to lose to, then and everyone has seen it.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. Like that's pretty much what happened with me when I lost that fight. It
Yeah.
was on UFC Fight Pass. She was from the West Coast, so I got people from the West Coast watching, from the East Coast watching. And it was a bad fight for me.
Yeah.
So everybody saw it, and I looked really bad. And it's not about, it's like, yeah, that wasn't me fighting, but that's not what they see. What they saw is Yasmeen got trashed by this chick. So now everyone probably thinks I'm ducking her. Everybody probably thinks that, I'm going to lose to her again. But the thing is about losing in that kind of way,
Yeah.
it makes that person hungrier. It makes that person...
Absolutely.
It makes that person, know, like, that's it, like, I'm going to get this back. And the thing that I live by now is you can't believe that you're going to succeed. You have to know it.
Yeah.
You tell yourself you're going to do it, and that's it. You get up and you do it.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. There's like this old Hebrew proverb that says something like, if you will it, it is no dream.
Mm-hmm.
And like the way I look at that is if you believe something and you've seen it,
Mm-hmm.
not only do you believe it, but you believe it so much that you can close your eyes and envision it,
100%.
then it's already happened.
There you go.
And all you have to do is see it out, is carry it out.
Yeah.
But if you have that mindset of, I've already won,
Yeah.
just the time has not passed yet,
Right.
you're unstoppable.
Exactly. That's how you're supposed to do it. Because before, I'd always be like, oh, I hope I win, or I hope I do enough.
You know it.
Because when you do that, then you leave the result just like up in the air. And
Yeah.
it's like you don't know what's going to happen. And that's what's going to scare you. That's what's going to play with your mind, is not knowing.
Yeah.
So you have to tell yourself, like, no, I do know what's going to happen. I just got to go out there and do it. And
Yeah.
that's it,
Absolutely. And so that comes from what? Experience or time or both? For you, was
right.
it going from that girl that was like, I think I can beat her.
Yeah.
Right before the fight, you're hyping yourself up, but there's still a little insecurity to just knowing.
Yeah.
Where does that cut? Does that come from partly from that loss, from the experience of 30 fights,
Yeah.
of winning fights? Like, where does that come from?
So I wouldn't say it's from experience, because to be honest, after 15 fights, like even before, you would expect, like a lot of people tell me that when they step in the ring, that's it, all their nerves go away and they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
For me, my anxiety didn't used to go away until after the last bell rang.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So even during the fight?
During the fight, it was always there. I just wanted it to be over. My anxiety was always so bad. It was so bad. But then after that fight, how embarrassed I was, and how horrible I felt, I never wanted to feel that way again. And I knew it was because of my mindset. I knew it. So I was like, you want to keep doing Muay Thai? This is what you want to do? Then you got to do something to change it. Like, stop being a little punk, and make it happen.
Yeah.
Because I've always told myself I wasn't meant to be ordinary. And I'm meant to do something in this world, and I want to make some kind of difference. And I feel like not so much that I become, famous in this sport or popular in this sport. It's that I can have, I guess, a big enough platform to like inspire people in any type of way.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I think you are.
I mean, I hope so. I do. And it makes me happy when some people tell me like, I ran 2 miles today because I saw that you did this. I'm just like, that is amazing. That's all I want.
Yeah. Just the dedication in your training and like the physical conditioning, that's inspiring. Especially for like, a chubby guy who does most of his work behind a computer.
You agree, stop.
No, but seriously, like it's not easy to do that. Just to get up and have that drive and push yourself. Yeah. I'm sure there's mornings where you're just like not feeling it.
Oh yeah.
And you just do it. You just.
For sure. See, but the mornings that you don't feel like doing it are the mornings that you have to get up and do it.
Yeah.
And I've had, let me tell you, I probably have more days that I don't want to do it than the days that I do.
Is the hardest part cutting the weight? Or is that, yeah? Because that's just like grueling.
I love food, Food is everything.
You and me both, yeah.
So, someone telling me I can't have food is devastating. And my favorite thing is I love Doritos. Mm-hmm. So they're my weakness.
Mm-hmm. Just regular Doritos, Cool Ranch, nacho cheese, the OGs.
Yes, I'm gonna get sponsored by them someday.
Nice.
Wait for it.
Watch out, Doritos.
Yeah, I'm coming.
You'll have your own flavor. If you had your own flavor of Doritos, what would it be called?
Oh my God, I don't know. That's a good question.
You could play off your name, the Yasmeenian Devil, something. Because actually, the tornado that he spins is kind of in a triangular shape. Almost looks like a Dorito. Yeah. It's a stretch.
You can make it work.
But, would they be spicy or would they be like mild? Okay, no spice.
No spicy.
All right. Well, you got nacho cheese. They've covered a lot of ground. You'd have to be pretty creative.
Well, I'll make it happen.
All right. Well, Doritos, who to reach out to if you'd like to talk about a sponsorship. So you've got Colombia coming up. You've got Peru. You've got like a pretty bright future ahead of you. The immediate future has got to be pretty exciting. Where do you see yourself long term?
So this is definitely a dream, but I think I can get there.
You can definitely get there. You're already on your way there.
Little by little, But there's this.
Humble, very humble. I like that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There's this I guess promotion. It's called One Championship.
Okay.
And it's like as big as like UFC, but for Muay Thai.
Okay.
And it's getting out there. So but it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get on that so bad. There's a girl that I fought before in the past that's on that show.
Is it a reality show?
No. It's fighting. It's promotion.
Yeah, but are they doing it on television?
Is it televised? Is it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was kind of like. Do you remember?
Not a show, but like.
Okay, you just mean the.
Not like the Ultimate Fighter.
That's what I thought.
No,
I thought it was something like that.
No,
okay.
No, it's like it's fights.
Okay.
But it's like being on that. Being on like UFC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just like that, but for Muay Thai.
Yeah.
But the way they do it, they have Muay Thai with MMA gloves.
Okay.
I would love to fight Muay Thai with MMA gloves.
Yeah, I noticed in your fights you wear like boxing gloves.
10-ounce gloves.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for this event, it would be smaller. There'd be less padding.
4 ounces.
Okay. And so how much harder is that hit if you take it with less padding? 4 ounce versus 10 ounce, or?
Well, you'll definitely see more knockouts with 4 ounces. Because it's almost just like,
It's like your fist, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is that what they use in UFC? They use 4 ounce?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, my biggest weapon is my hands. So, and Muay Thai fighters usually don't like hands.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be fun.
What's your knockout combination?
Honestly, so it's kind of funny. My friends say that I have like they call it the machine gun, the way I throw my hands.
Yeah.
It's like I throw all technique out the window and I just throw 1-2 back, like just keep going. And
nice.
Yeah, it's like probably not the best thing always.
It works for you, right?
But it works.
Hey,
you know? So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Are you familiar with Deontay Wilder, the boxer?
Wilder, yes.
Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
So he calls himself a knockout artist.
Okay.
This guy, same thing. People kind of, you know, like these boxing aficionados, like they're all about technique and, you know, southpaw, all this kind of stuff. Like they're really studying the style of the fighter. This guy throws that out the window. He'll usually start with some kind of technique, right? He'll have a game plan. You can kind of see it in his footwork and stuff. And then after he gets hit a couple times and that fire starts burning, he just starts throwing like these Hail Marys.
Yeah.
And if they connect, I mean, he's 6'7", 220. When they connect, that's it.
That's it,
You know, like in the heavyweight division, if you get hit with that shot
for sure
from a man who's almost 7 feet tall, like it's lights
You're
out.
going down,
Yeah. But same thing, like he just kind of throws. It's funny, his last name's Wilder, and he throws these wild punches.
Yeah.
They should play something on his name and his style, but it works.
Yeah,
it works for him.
For sure.
You know, and he's got a fight coming up. Actually, I think it's tonight.
Oh, wow.
He's fighting a Cuban, Ortiz. Yeah, Ortiz and Wilder. It's a rematch. It's a rematch fight. So I don't know, the boxing. I think those are two worlds that haven't gotten the notoriety that they deserve, and that's Muay Thai and boxing. Like, well, the heavyweight division of boxing people have been sleeping on that for a while.
Oh, okay.
It's just been boring. You know, they'd rather watch like smaller fighters.
Probably because they're quicker. I don't know, like with heavier.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, but I mean, with heavier, I mean, it's slower, but you'll see a lot of knockouts in that.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I feel like boxing has gotten its attention.
It has, just not in the U.S. and not so much in the heavyweight division.
Okay.
Just the heavyweight, like welterweights, middleweights, like Floyd Mayweather, like that kind of. I don't know what his weight class is, probably 130, 140. Because like you said, they're fun to watch.
Yeah.
They're fast. They throw fast punches. They dance around the ring.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. You know, watching two heavyweights is like they just look slow. It looks like you're watching in slow motion.
Yeah.
So now that these new contenders are coming in, like Wilder, who's a knockout artist, and Tyson Fury, who's 6'9" but dances around the ring like Muhammad Ali, like it's interesting. It's becoming more interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that all forms of fighting, you know, there's a spectacle aspect of it. You know, there's the actual entertainment side of it from the viewer's perspective.
Yeah.
For you, you're in the ring, you're fighting for your life. But to the people sitting and watching it, like part of it is they want to be entertained, right?
Yeah.
So you have like, remember Conor McGregor before his career kind of like
Before he destroyed his career, yeah.
Is that, you think that's what happened?
100%. He got caught up.
He got caught up. Yeah. I mean, he made a lot of money in a short amount of time. His fame level skyrocketed, and a lot of it was because of the character that he was.
He was definitely entertaining.
He was entertaining.
You know,
and that I think that's one thing the UFC got right, is they know that they not only need great fighters, but they need characters.
Oh yeah.
You know, like Nate Diaz just had a fight a couple nights ago. He fought how do you say that guy's name? Mastaval? Jorge Mastaval? They fought. Did you see that fight?
I know what happened. Yeah.
Oh, you saw that fight?
I saw his face after the fight.
Nate Diaz's face.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got cut quick early.
Crazy. He's a crazy man, and I feel like like you said, character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he will. That's the thing about him.
He's built kind of weird too. He's built like long and lanky.
Yeah.
But I guess for like that grapple game, it works. You know, something in that slinky snake-like lizard body he has. No offense, Nate, but you look weird. He does, right? Like so, his torso is really long. I don't know.
He does have a
Not that I'm staring at a half-naked man, but that's what the UFC is. But yeah, he got rocked on that fight. Like I think I hit with an elbow. It was an elbow and a headbutt, maybe something really early on.
Yeah.
But that guy Mastaval, he started in backyard fighting.
Okay.
So do you remember what was his name? Real burly black dude with a beard. He died recently. What the heck? You know what I'm talking about? Oh man, if there's anyone watching this show that follows fighting, they're probably slaughtering me right now.
It's really sad because I should probably know the answer to these questions, but I don't.
Yeah, he started same thing, backyard fighting, and then he got into the UFC. and then he died. Shit, I think he might have died from a heart attack.
Wow.
But they, Mastoval and him were in like the same. They did promotions too, but that was not sanctioned. It was backyard fighting.
Right.
You know, and it just got really big because of YouTube.
Okay.
So they started promoting these fights on YouTube, and then a couple of these guys actually went from street fighting, like just genuine bare knuckle street fighting, to UFC.
Right.
And Mastoval was one of them. He's a brilliant fighter. Like he's really tactical. He seems like he's preparing and calculating like 10 moves, like chess, like you were saying. Like you have to prepare, not the next move, but a few moves down.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's good at that. He, I think he holds the record for like fastest knockout from the bell.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he did like some kind of flying kick or elbow or something like that.
That's cool.
But, you know, if it wasn't for people like Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor, and who was the other guy? Remember Chuck Liddell? You remember him? Like kind of a hillbilly looking white guy, mohawk. He does got like a real raspy voice. He was a character. He was like one of the first big characters that Dana White UFC sort of pushed. What is there a fly?
Yeah. Sorry.
It's been buzzing around for a while. So yeah, I think that's part of the reason why the UFC became what it was. That and the show that you were talking about. What was it called?
The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool. It was really, it worked. It was like it brought it brought the drama and the entertainment element to the fighting world.
No, for sure.
Yeah, and it allowed people like me that don't know what it takes to be a fighter to like see the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like the really, like that's the real, that's the real side of it.
See, but I feel like even like watching it and like, even if you're taking step by step through what a fighter goes through, I feel like you will not know until you go through it yourself.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, when I cut weight and I get very sensitive, everyone's like, you know, why are you getting mad or something? Like, and I'm just like, I can't eat. Or like just being so tired and exhausted from training, and it's like you don't get it because it's like it's a mental battle, physical battle, emotional battle, like everything. And I don't know, you give it everything you have and it's so draining. Yeah. You know, but then it becomes worth it once you do get that victory.
Would you say you kind of got addicted to it? Yeah. Like the lifestyle of it?
It's for sure. I mean, so I know what it's like to not be in shape, and obviously I know what it's like to be in shape, and it feels great being in shape. You know, like, it feels amazing eating like McDonald's and fried chicken and pizza and all that. Oh,
short term.
So good.
In the moment. 20 minutes later, you're like,
you feel like crap.
Yeah.
You know, but then being in shape and getting up and like going on a run and not even being out of breath, you're like, this is great. Like, I took a picture the other day. I have abs. I'm happy.
You're in crazy shape. You're in crazy shape.
I've never had no abs before. I was like, yes, you know, like I've always, you know, wanted, because when I was younger, I was skinny and had no form to me, and I was just a stick.
Yeah, my brother has the same thing. Like,
you know what I mean? Your
brother too.
Oh yeah, my brother's.
Yeah, like putting on weight is difficult.
It's very, very hard. Very, very hard. But then, and I was just like almost embarrassed from like how I looked. But then
I always found that funny because I've always had an issue with weight the other way. Like I put on weight. Yeah. So I was like, I would look at the skinnier kids and be like, man, why can't
I wish.
Yeah, I want to be able to eat a cheeseburger and not have to pay for it.
Totally.
Like that.
Right.
But it's like if you're skinny, maybe you look at bigger people like, why can't I put on weight like that? Whereas I look at that and I'm like, why can't I keep off weight?
Totally. I mean,
grass is always greener.
Grass is always greener, for sure. But it's like, I don't know. Like, when I tell you I was skinny, I was skinny. Like, it was bad. Like, if I, like, lay down on the floor, I would disappear. It was pretty bad. But then, you know, fighting, like, somehow I gained weight. But I got up, eventually I got up to, like, 135. Yeah. It wasn't that cute.
No? What, you were too muscular? Is that what you mean?
No, I was too big. For the way I gained weight, it wasn't cute.
So what did you do different in your diet to keep the weight on? Were you doing like protein stuff?
To be 135?
Yeah.
Oh no, that was after I had a bad loss and I took a break.
It was like a little bit of like depression weight almost.
Oh yeah.
I've put that on once or twice.
Yeah, I mean,
shit. We can all relate to that. Going in the freezer and pulling out a tub of ice cream.
Oh, yeah. And non-stop eating, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like...
It's comfort. Food is comfort.
It is so much comfort. I loved it. But then, you know, somehow now I'm walking at like 113, 112.
Yeah.
I feel great.
And you feel like that's a really sound weight for where you're at right now.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like, I tell myself I'm going to keep it off the weight and not eat a lot. But...
But
yeah,
you're fighting in the 105
yes.
weight class, right? So you got to shave 10 pounds ish.
I mean, yeah, but so I still have 2.5 weeks until Colombia. So,
Oh, and you're going to be tortured in Colombia too because the food there is amazing.
you know.
They need to like have these fights in like somewhere in Russia where it's like pickled eggs and terrible food. You're like, I don't want any of that. Like Thailand, Colombia,
Yes, I know.
Peru, like all that good food.
I know.
Oh my
And the thing
God.
is, I have to be 105 every day.
Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy.
it's not just the first day, it's every day. So, even after, like, I eat, I still, like, can't eat too much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
What happens if you're a pound or two over?
you don't fight.
Really? So on the weigh-in, if you're over at all, they're like,
They
that's
give
it,
you
fights off.
They give you, like, the rest of the time of the weigh-in
Yeah.
to make weight. And then that's it. If you don't make weight, you don't fight.
Is that the same day or is it
It's the morning of.
Wow. So as soon as that weigh-in event's over, if you haven't shaved the weight,
Then you're out.
you're So, wow. So
Yeah.
has that ever happened to you?
No. I always make weight. There was
Yeah.
one time where I was a pound over, and they're like, all right, we'll like let it go. But that's after I cut. How much weight did I cut? I cut 14 pounds.
And how long did it take you to cut the 14?
I think I cut like 10 pounds or 12 pounds in 2 days, like before, and then like.
What?
Yeah, it was really bad.
Was that all water weight?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Wow.
If you saw me, I looked like a crackhead.
Yeah.
My face was...
That's a
very bad.
lot. So what were you doing? Were you just doing like
The
a lot
hot
of...
tub thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That thing will make you lose weight for
Yeah.
sure. And it's not fun. I've cried maybe a few times. That probably helped me lose some weight too.
It's funny because usually the hot tub is like something to decompress and relax in,
I
and
am
you're using it to
scarred.
cut weight.
I'm scarred by the hot tub. I see people in there
That's crazy.
and they're enjoying themselves. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah. You know, that's how Whitney Houston, remember her? That's how she died. She
What?
died in a hot tub.
Did you?
Yeah, she was.
died from an overdose.
It was an
Okay.
overdose. So she was doing, speaking of looking like a crackhead,
Right.
she was a crackhead in a jacuzzi.
Oh my god.
And because of the crack, I guess like you're numb or whatever because it's like cocaine.
Yeah.
And she couldn't tell that her body was overheating in the hot tub.
That's insane.
And she like had a heart attack and died.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
See, that's what I'm scared of in cutting weight. I mean, I don't do crack or enjoy.
What? Right.
But,
No, we
but
know.
passing out
Yeah.
in a hot tub because like I do cut a lot of weight, which is stupid. Very wrong of me, but
Yeah. But you
it's-
have to do it. It's
you
just
know what I
part
mean?
of the game.
but it's so scary because people die from that.
Yeah.
Like this woman came up to me, she's like, "Excuse me, can I tell you something?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I see you coming in and out of the hot tub, and you have me very worried about you." Like,
Really?
yeah.
What's this is like
This
the
is-
woman worked at the wherever?
No, she just went there.
Oh.
Yeah, she was just like.
What was it at a gym?
LA Fitness.
So-
They have a hot tub.
So just another customer came up to you at LA Fitness and they were like, "Hey, we're
Yeah.
worried."
Like.
Really?
Yeah, I've had that a couple times. People look at me, they're like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" And they
How
all
long-
stare at me.
Yeah. How long will you stay in the jacuzzi for one session?
Well, one session, so it's like five, so like 15
Oh, yeah, that's what you
minutes,
said that,
and
yeah.
then go to the sauna for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and then do it again, and then they see me go back and forth, and I stay there for hours.
So that's basically dehydrating you, right?
100%.
And do you drink water after
You
to
can,
rehydrate?
Because as soon as you drink water, you'll gain it back.
So is the plan like, excuse me, you cut the weight, you're basically dehydrated,
Yeah.
and once after the weigh-in's over, then you hydrate?
But the thing is
That seems like
yeah, it's horrible.
counterintuitive.
It's horrible.
Like does that has to affect your physiology a little
It
bit?
does a lot.
Yeah.
Especially
So
cutting that much weight. That's why like my coach always yells at me. He's like, "Why are you walking at 120 when you fight at 105?" And I'm like, "Cause food, you know."
Mhm.
But it's not smart. So I want to start walking 110. But
So it's just 5 pounds you got to
5
take
pounds
off.
is nothing.
Yeah.
I cut 5 pounds.
Yeah.
I lose 10 pounds and I cut 5. That's what I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to have to lose the 5 pounds now and just make life easier. You know, but hopefully I'll be smart one day.
Well, I mean, you gotta enjoy yourself though too.
Yeah,
you know.
that's what I tell myself. But at the same time, the pain that I go through with cutting weight.
Could you fight in a higher weight class?
The bigger the weight, the bigger the girls, and I'm already small. I'm already smaller than my weight class. Like all the girls in my weight are taller than me.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're tall and skinny.
Tall and skinny. So I'm stronger.
Yeah.
I'm stronger than most of them, I would say. But.
So the 120, is there a 120 weight class?
Oh yeah.
What's that like?
They're huge compared to me.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the type of person I am is I'll fight anybody at any weight because I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But I will feel the power difference. I fought at 115 before.
Mm-hmm.
The girl was like taller and built more. I felt her power. I could take it because I get hit by grown men.
Yeah, we've saw
you know,
in
but
the clip.
but I don't need to. You know, I don't need to take that. But I don't know. I guess it's my fault that it's hard for me to make 105. Nobody else's.
Yeah.
So, but I can't make lower than 105. Like if, for instance, my coach told me, you know, I need you to fight at 102, I'll be like, you can fight at 102. I'm gonna go have my Doritos. Thank you.
So right after a fight, do you kind of go crazy? Do you have like a crazy post-fight cheat meal or something like that? What is it?
It used to be really bad. Now I try not to do that. But oh my gosh, so I crave so many things. So before, look, I have to tell you this. Before, when I'm cutting weight, I watch YouTube videos of people eating food. They're called mukbangs. I know.
Is it Japanese?
I have no idea. I forget what it is.
Because that's part of Japanese culture is like people like to watch others eat.
I think it might be Japanese.
Is it an Asian thing? Is it something? Yeah.
Definitely an Asian thing.
What is that about? I never understood
I don't know why
that.
other people do it. I do it because I'm missing out on amazing food.
Right. Well, Japanese people are in really good shape for the most part, like their culture.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're doing it for the same reason. Like it's just filling that void. Yeah.
Maybe.
I'll tell you what. Maybe people who are overweight because they eat too much need to like try this diet, try this thing where you won't eat the food. My mom struggles with her weight, like bad, and I've tried many different ways to kind of help her.
Right.
Maybe, Mom, if you're watching, maybe you just need to watch people eat.
See,
but eat really gross food. I know that's not what you do, but
No.
imagine that. You're just like, oh, I don't want to eat now. That's nasty.
maybe that will help, but watch people eat food that you want does not help. It makes you want to go eat.
So why do you do it?
Because I have to see it. I don't
Seems
know.
like torture.
It almost is, yeah. But
Okay.
I don't know what it is. But then, so after my fights, this is what I've done a couple times. So I want like all fast food for some stupid reason. So I go to each fast food place that I've been craving, and I just put it all together and eat it.
Oh, it's genius.
So I've gone to Taco Bell, and I've gotten the nacho beurre grande, and then the cinnamon delights, and then I go to McDonald's and get some fries and then frap, and then.
McDonald's does have good fries.
They do. I hate everything about McDonald's, but their fries.
Do you eat pork?
No.
Okay, me neither. I'm going to tell you something.
Okay.
I told your brother the same thing.
Oh, no.
Actually, maybe he told me. I might be claiming that. If he's watching that, I don't know who came up with this. It might have been you first. But apparently McDonald's oil has pork fat in it.
How'd you tell me that?
I didn't want to know that either. Because I don't eat pork either. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, I can't even eat McDonald's fries?
Damn it.
I'm telling you, America, like, everything is drenched in bacon and pork in this country. You know, like, you can't go anywhere without there being bacon on something.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so.
I mean, I hear a lot of good things about bacon.
Yeah.
I like beef bacon.
Me too. Beef bacon's really good.
So
Slept on. Like, a lot of people that don't know about beef bacon don't know how good it is.
Right.
Turkey bacon.
It's okay, but that's what most people eat.
Yeah. It's kind of bland. It's boring. Because turkey's lean. You know, it's not. It's just like a chicken. So, sucks. But beef bacon.
So good.
Really good. I imagine pork bacon tastes just like beef bacon because it smells the same.
Yeah, I mean, people say it's like pretty similar, like the texture and stuff. But I'm sure there's a little difference. But
yeah, well, you're gonna have to change something with that post workout. I mean, post fight. What did we call it? Post fight cheat meal. Yeah, no more McDonald's fries. You'll have to go to Checkers or something.
Checkers is okay.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of oil they use.
Oh no.
Here's a trick for anyone. Like, I love to cook. So
Okay.
if you want to make French fries at home, before you fry the potatoes, fry chicken first. In the same oil. Yeah, so used oil will fry anything better than like fresh oil.
Right.
Something people do, mostly Americans I found, is like they'll fry with oil, then they'll throw the oil away.
Yeah.
Like you've just seasoned it. Save it. Let it cool down.
Arabs do that. They use the same oil.
Yeah. Well, smart people do that. That's what you're supposed to do because now you've seasoned the oil. It's taken on some flavor.
Right.
So I'll usually fry chicken and then fry the potatoes in the chicken fried oil after. And it comes out really good. And you don't have to worry about there being pork fat in your potatoes. Yeah. And they're actually as good as McDonald's fries.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's just a little tip for anyone out there looking to cook some French fries right now.
You're making me hungry now.
Yeah. See? So what's your diet like these days? Like right now, are you doing anything crazy or are you just trying to maintain?
So, shout out to my meal prep spot.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Yes. So, I'm sponsored by this place called Healthy Prep
Healthy Meal Prep? Healthy Prep Meal?
Healthy Plate? Healthy Prep Meal?
Healthy Plate?
We have to think of the name.
Oh shit.
Darn it, how do I not know it? Healthy Prep, Healthy Plate Meal?
Should I think I'm following them
Please
on
look it up.
Instagram. All right, let's see.
Redeem me.
Healthy Plate Meals.
Healthy Plate Meals, yes. I'm gonna start that over. So
Number one sponsor, by the way.
Yes.
So you can actually follow them on Instagram at Healthy Plate Meals, plural. That's all one word, no spaces or anything like that. Or you can go to healthyplatemeals.com.
Yes.
Yeah. So talk about how do the meal prep things work with them.
So first of all, they are amazing. They're probably they are the cheapest around, at least in Philly.
Okay.
Their meals go about like $6 a meal. A lot of places are like $8, $9, $10.
No, that's not bad.
You know
That's
what I mean?
less than you would pay for fast food.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
then it's that, and they have a new menu every week, so you don't get bored. And then they also, if you go to their store, to their shop, they have smoothies and acai bowls.
Oh, so they're not just a delivery service.
So delivery just like costs extra, but you can go pick it up. Or
Okay.
They're in Bristol, PA.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like 30 minutes from Northeast Philadelphia.
So they're local to just Northeast PA, or I guess, Northeast Pennsylvania, like Philly, surrounding areas, suburbs.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But no, they're great. The food is always delicious. They take accommodations, like say like something's made with, for instance, pork, and you don't eat pork, you can tell them to take it out, and they take it out.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
They're great. They're one of my favorite, and the guy that owns it, nicest guy ever. So nice, he's great. Support your local businesses.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So do they know that you have like a fighter's diet? Like, do you have dietary restrictions other than just like, I don't like this or that? Do you say I need to have this much caloric intake or something? Is that how it works?
So the last week I'm not supposed to have any sodium.
Mm-hmm.
So then I tell them that, and they make me meals with no sodium, for instance. You know, so if it gets
No
salt.
salt.
So bad. You know how depressing it is not to be able to have any salt?
No, because I eat tons of it.
Good. Live your
Tons
life.
of salt and tons of sugar.
Live your best life.
Yeah, you really have to be cut from a certain cloth to do what you do. Like, you really do. It takes a certain type of human being to have that much like dedication and that much drive and focus to not break out of that. Because I would. Most people would. I think most people would.
I mean, that's why like not everybody does it. You know what I mean? It's definitely hard, but thankfully I have a great support system behind me. You know what I mean? Like, I am so thankful for my family and my friends that always have my back.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps. Like, for instance, I work at my dad's shop, my dad's car shop, which doing that.
Shout out Salhani Auto.
Salhani Auto, check us out.
You guys have a website? Is it salhaniauto.com?
We don't have an Instagram.
An Instagram, and you guys are on Yelp too.
Yelp.
What is here, let's just drop the Instagram handle.
I think it's Salhani_automotive.
Is it?
Maybe not.
I don't know if I'm following the company. Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's Salhani under SALHANI _ automotive
Right.
to follow on Instagram. But you guys are located in Northeast Philly,
In Philadelphia.
right off of the Roosevelt Boulevard
And Pratt Street. Yeah.
and Pratt Street.
Yes.
Yeah, and you guys are one of the best shops in the city. I mean, as far as quick turnaround,
For
and
sure.
you want to talk a little bit about the business?
Yeah, I mean, like we take a lot of pride in like great customer service and getting people in and out and making sure that we're honest with our customers. Because I mean, there are a lot of mechanic shops, like there's that stigma of mechanic shops trying to take money from people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
The thing is that what we do is like we show you what's wrong with your car. We explain, we make sure you understand, you're happy with whatever you're about to pay us for, and then we proceed with
Yeah.
the work to be done. You know what I'm saying? So
That's amazing. I mean, to have that level of transparency with the customer and
Yes.
say, hey, before we get into fixing the problem, here's what it is.
Right.
And not only say it, but show them
Mhm.
so they know exactly what they're getting into.
Right.
Because you're right. I mean, everyone has been a victim of a shitty mechanic
Oh, yeah.
who says one thing and does another.
100%.
And then when you leave the shop, you're 500 less in your pocket and the car still has the same problem, you know?
Yeah, that's what happens.
So I can vouch for you guys personally that you do amazing work. Anyone who lives in the area should definitely come by and at least like get a tune-up or an
Right.
inspection. You know, you guys do inspections
Yes, we do
all day,
inspections.
right? So
We're the cheapest around.
yeah, so that's big.
So, yeah.
And the convenience, you're right off of the boulevard, so it's right
Right.
there.
Can't miss us.
That's awesome. So, and you work at the shop. I'll act like I don't know. You work at the shop with your family, your dad and your two brothers,
Yes.
and okay.
Yeah, so I mean, working there like gives me the opportunity to have a flexible schedule. You know what I mean? So that's why I do get to travel as much as I do. So I do get to train as much as I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's great. But like, for instance, if I didn't want to work there anymore, like I do have my bachelor's degree, I can go and get a job somewhere else. So like,
What's your degree in? Sorry.
Entrepreneurship, and I also minored in legal studies
Okay.
when I was there too.
So maybe someday you want to open your own business, or
I mean, I do want to open up my own gym
nice,
someday.
very
but,
nice.
Yeah, and I want to have a big focus on women.
Yeah, there's not enough females in the sport.
But there's not a lot of females in the sport, but it is growing.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's not like, I feel like there's no women gyms in general. You know what I mean? But that's also because I feel like women.
It's a male dominated sport. I mean, let's be real here.
No, to be honest, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
But that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be more women getting involved.
100%.
And it doesn't mean you have to compete, right? You can just do it
Yeah.
for,
Fitness.
physical training, mental training,
100%.
you know.
You feel confident when you know you can fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And it's not a bad idea learning how to defend yourself.
especially these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right, so we're just about an hour into the show.
Okay.
We can wrap up unless there's anything else you want to talk about or bring up. Anything? Why don't we talk about what you got coming up, how people can follow you, how they can check you out, how they can support you. I'm cracking my knuckles while I'm going through the numbers here. I don't know why I'm doing that. But so let's start. How can people follow you if they want to see your journey? And
For sure. So mostly I'm on Instagram. You can follow me at Yasmeenian _ Devil.
Mhm.
So that's YASMEENIAN _ Devil.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll drop a
always
link
post, yeah, for sure.
in the description so people can go right to it.
Cool. But yeah, I post all my like upcoming fights on there. About my training. I like to remind people to get their runs in every time I run. So it's like, I try to be
Little source of
a
inspiration.
little bit. I try
Very
to
nice.
be. But yeah, so that's like the main thing that you follow me on.
Okay, and then you told me before the show that you've sold out of all your merch because
I
it's
did.
that good. But when it does become available,
Yes,
if they're interested in buying or helping support you,
for sure.
they can just direct message you on Instagram.
Yes.
Will that work?
Yeah, I'm gonna be making shirts next year probably.
Okay.
The beginning of next year. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Yeah, so there you go, guys. You'll be able to just direct message Yasmeen through her Instagram and she'll hook you up.
Yeah.
Maybe have like a little discount code or something. I don't know. Get the merch in first. You know,
right.
she's sold out. What do you want? If something's sold out, you got to pay the premium. The prices went up. It's double the price if you want it. We'll give you a discount code, but it's going to jack the price. No, you're good. But I think the logo, are you still using the logo that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because they're really, really sweet logo.
Yeah,
I know that from firsthand experience.
I wonder who drew that.
Yeah, don't know. Very talented artist. He's
Great artist.
He's like a ghost in the art world. He's like Banksy. Just shows up and does stuff and then disappears into the darkness. Yeah. All right. So anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show. I didn't even look in the chat to see if anyone was chimed in during the live stream. Usually we'll have some people, but I'll be promoting the show after on Instagram, and then you can always just go to YouTube to check out the show after it airs.
Perfect.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Yasmeen.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you next week, hopefully with my co-host. That remains to be seen. But next week, I have another guest coming on the show, someone I'm pretty sure he's locked in, but I don't want to say who yet until I've confirmed 100%. But I will let you guys know on our social media. So anyway, thank you. See you guys next time.